Good morning, folks. We're doing something a little bit differently than we normally do around this time each morning. Today we are joined by the governor of Louisiana, Governor Bel Edwards. Governor, it's a pleasure to have you with us this morning on Fox 14.
It's great to be with you, Bodie, and Anna as well.
Thanks, sir.
Governor Edwards, you're currently the only Democratic governor in the South. You were elected prior to President Trump taking office. Do you think the state has swayed in its political leanings since then?
No, and in fact, I think the people of Louisiana are comfortable with where I am on the political spectrum, which is in the center. They also know that everything that I've done as governor has been in a bipartisan fashion, working with Republican majorities in the House and the Senate to get past the largest budget deficit in the history of our state, which was left to me by our predecessor, to stabilize our state, to start investing in education again, by growing our economy. We have the largest economy in the history of our state right now. The most personal income ever recorded in our state's history, and also the lowest unemployment in more than 11 years. So the people of Louisiana understand that, they get it, and so I don't believe that the dynamics of the state have changed with respect to that.
And that budget crisis that you just mentioned, inheriting at the beginning of your term, you take credit for solving it, but the state still has some of the highest tax rates in the country. What can really be done to address and change that?
Well, first of all, you should know that we have the 5th lowest tax burden state and local in the United States of America. That's from the Tax Foundation. In fact, this year, we were the 3rd state in the country to reach Tax Freedom Day. So we need to make sure that we have the lowest taxes possible while we can still make the necessary investments in things like education. But by the way, we made the first new investment in higher education in 10 years. It's helping ULM and Delta and other institutions around the country, the first teacher pay raise in a decade. And also we invested in early childhood education as well. And we did this after giving a $600 million tax cut last year. And we still ran a surplus because the economy is growing faster and performing better than the economists had predicted.
Governor, the Rispone campaign has frequently depicted your politics in alignment with liberal Democrats in Washington. What do you have to say to more moderate voters regarding that depiction?
Well, first of all, the voters of Louisiana know better. I'm squarely in the center of the political spectrum. They know, for example, that I am pro-life. They know that I am pro-Second Amendment. I've been a responsible gun owner since I was 9 years old, in fact, when Santa Claus brought me a 20-gauge pump shotgun. And so that's talking points. That's what campaigns do and elections do. But the fact of the matter is the people of Louisiana know who I am, what I stand for, and the overwhelming majority of them are comfortable with my leadership. They know that I work in a bipartisan way. And by the way, they know I've worked with the president. I've been to visit him 9 times and members of his cabinet to talk about critical priorities for our country, like transportation infrastructure, the opioid epidemic, and criminal justice reform. And this is the political season. He's doing what the party has asked of him and what typically happens in elections. But on Monday, we'll get back to the governing season, and I will have a great working relationship with him, as I always have. And by the way, the same kind of relationship I had with President Obama before, because I think it's critically important that the governor have a good working relationship with the president, regardless of party, in order to do the best possible job for the state.
Governor, a major campaign issue in many of the local races here in Monroe and much of the Arklamas has been infrastructure funding, especially to repair roads. What can you do to reassure folks in this part of the state that those funds are not staying below I-10?
Well, first of all, I signed into law a bill where this time next year we're going to invest $700 million in transportation infrastructure all over the state of Louisiana, the largest new investment in 30 years. Much of that money will be going to North Louisiana, particularly rural highways and bridges, which is what the delegation wanted to do. But we're also going to continue to move forward with other projects. You know, I'm off of I-20 at Barksdale Air Force Base. We're putting in a new interchange, something that's been the Air Force's #1 request of the state of Louisiana for a couple of decades. We're doing that right now. That's a project that I initiated. And if you look at other work that we've done, completing I-49 North, going out of Shreveport, for example, but right there closer to home to Monroe as well, in Ruston, you will see that there are investments that have been made. In fact, we've made well over $2 billion worth of investments in our transportation infrastructure, and that is benefiting the entire state, including North Louisiana. One of the first things I did was prevent the Department of Transportation from using Transportation Trust Fund dollars to fund other parts of the state budget. That was happening under my predecessor. I stopped that. That's $300 million more invested in roads and bridges and ports since I've been governor. We're going to continue that approach, and we're going to be even more innovative and creative and looking for opportunities to move forward with investments in infrastructure.
Governor Edwards, we'd love to spend a little bit more time chatting with you and ask you some more questions, but it seems like we are out of time here today, sir. Thank you so much for talking with us this morning. More News of the Archimist.
Well, thank you very much, and I encourage everybody to go vote.
More News of the Archimist continues right after the break. Thank you, sir.